Welcome back. Well, former COVID czar Dr. Fauci facing a grilling from the Senate Homeland Security Committee yesterday. He pled the Fifth Amendment 111 times as to not answer any questions surrounding the origins of COVID-19 and the government's response to it. The senators using their time to express frustration. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, for example, did not hold back.
Americans remember you as the public face of the coronavirus response. As one of the nation's most trusted voices, you urged policies you said were absolutely necessary, even when those policies came at an enormous human and economic cost. And Americans deserve answers about reports that you may have worked with others to pressure the president into adopting the slow the spread strategy, and why you later sought an unconditional pardon for crimes you may have committed dating back to 2014.
Joining me now is the woman herself, Senator Joni Ernst, sits on the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, thanks very much for being here this morning. What a day. What is your takeaway on yesterday's hearing?
Oh, Maria, thank you so much for highlighting this committee meeting yesterday with Dr. Fauci. My takeaway is that Dr. Fauci, through what he expressed in his private diary, was that he was really fascinated by the rich and the famous, and he was willing to do Zoom meetings with celebrities and athletes and influencers. And yet yesterday he demonstrated to the American people that you aren't good enough for me to answer any questions. His silence was very telling, Maria, and very disappointing.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, how will you proceed in terms of getting information and confirming what Rand Paul has said, which is that Fauci lied, that he, in fact, did support and direct gain-of-function research in Wuhan through the Eco Alliance and then covered it up?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a lot of documents that have been gathered through the course of the last several years. And what we can do is refer those to the Department of Justice for any sort of prosecution. We do believe that he has lied to Congress. And we do know that he asked his staff members to delete any files that he may have shared with them, to delete their voicemails. We have others that have said that after a phone call or after he had left a voicemail, he would say, delete this voicemail. If he would send a message, he would say, delete this message from your in-mail box and then delete it from your deleted folder. So he was very specific about how to get rid of any messages, about how to get rid of any evidence of collaboration and communication when it came to COVID-19.
Wow. Meanwhile, only 7 legislative days left before the Senate goes on August recess, and you've still got a long to-do list, Senator, before leaving Washington. The House passing that clean continuing resolution. You've got the NDAA and the Framework for Reconciliation 3.0. Lots of questions around the Clarity Act and the Save America Act. The Senate also working on that Russia sanctions bill in honor of the late Senator Lindsey Graham. What do you see as the top priority right now ahead of recess?
Yeah, no doubt. We have to get a funding bill done. We know it's necessary to make sure the government is funded. So that will be one of the top priorities. Of course, the Save America Act. The SAVE Act is incredibly important to the president as well. We have National Defense Authorization Act. We've got the Farm Bill. We have a lot of moving pieces. Of course, I have an anti-fraud bill that I would like to see moved as well. So we have a lot of work in front of us, Maria. The clock is ticking. We need to really focus on this and show results for our constituents back home.
Do you think you'll get anything more done other than the budget? Because I understand getting the budget done so you don't face a government shutdown, which your colleagues in the Democrat Party are threatening once again when funding runs out in September. Is there anything, and realistically speaking, what gets done in the next 7 days?
I do think that we can get that budget bill done. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Of course, we will be marking up the farm bill next week. It won't be completely done, but at least we will have it marked up. So there are a number of things we'll continue working on through the committees. On the floor, though, again, very, very limited time. So I think with Leader Thune's guidance, that budget bill will take top priority.
What's your take on the upcoming midterms? What are we, 14 weeks away? Early voting begins as soon as September 18th.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where we need to take that time, go back to our home states and make sure that we're out really plugging the wins that we have had over the course of the past 2 years. The one big beautiful bill that was passed last year and the impact that that has had to our constituents' lives, making sure, of course, that we're driving down the costs that are out there. All of these things we need to be able to demonstrate. Really important in my home state of Iowa is going to be the farm bill. So that is key. We need to make sure that we're retaining all of the great work that we did on the SNAP error rate that exists out across the states and making sure that those SNAP dollars go to the neediest of the families, not those fraudsters that we have found along the way.
Absolutely. Senator, we'll be watching your work. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Senator Joni Ernst. Stay with us. We'll be right back.